Tony Dungy is that guy for NBC Sports. He's joining us now live from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, his home away from home. So TJ Watt, he is practicing. He practiced in full today for the first time all offseason. Has not gotten that contract, but as Mike Tomlin predicted, Coach, your former pupil, he is practicing and will more than likely, in all probability, play against Buffalo in Week 1. But that's an organization, the Steelers, that you know very well. The checks are a lot bigger since you were playing for them, but nonetheless, you know how they do business. Who's in the right here, Coach? Who's in the right, the Steelers or TJ Watt?
I was laughing because it just brought memories of 44 years ago, my rookie year. Mel Blount and Jack Lambert were holding out, and they held out over 2 months, and they were trying to get $100,000, both of them, and it didn't fly. They ended up holding out and signing for about $86,000 apiece, and it's just that's the way the Steelers do business. It's fair, but they're not going to blow the top off the market. They're not going to be the highest paid. Everybody kind of understands that, and we were the same way. Gosh, Mel should get paid, Jack should get paid, we need him, but it'll sort itself out. Everybody will be happy in the long run.
But Coach, here's what I struggle with, all right? Like, apparently the issue is the Steelers, you probably know this, the Steelers don't like to guarantee money beyond the first year. That seems to be the sticking point. But don't you make exceptions for exceptional people? It's not like everybody's TJ Watt or everybody would be commanding the kind of contract of TJ Watt. So I'll answer my own question. Like, and I'm always, I know you are as well, always pro player when it comes to getting your money. But it feels like, can't you make an exception if you're the Steelers and still adhere to your way of doing business? But when you got a guy that's multiple All-Pros and Defensive Player of the Year runner-up and the type of player he is, reward him accordingly, right?
I think you're right, and I think that's what Coach Tomlin is saying. Hey, this is going to get done. We'll bend a little bit. TJ will bend a little bit. We'll meet in the middle. He wants to be there. They want him. They'll get it worked out. It's just going to take some gymnastics because, as you say, they don't want to set a precedent.
All right, I'm just wondering, this is the Steelers have been doing this for a long time. They've got an organizational philosophy, and it's no coincidence that it's all the last name of the person in charge is always Rooney. You know, so this is the way the Rooney family does business. So I'm wondering though, Coach, every time I talk to somebody who has played for the Steelers, they're always saying kind things about it, kind things about the organization, the fan experience. So how do they get away with it? Because the modern NFL players are like, okay, you're going to be like that? I want to go somewhere else. Trade me. How are the Steelers able to have this philosophy and still have players say kind things about them years and years after the fact?
Well, I think, number one, because they're honest. And from Art Rooney Sr. down to Dan, now to Art the second, it's always going to be up front. They're never going to BS you. They're never going to tell you something that's not true. And, yes, you may fight over money, but there's going to be they're not going to tell you, hey, we're not going to do this for you and then go do it for someone else. And I think that's where the sticking point is now. But you're right. It is that way. I remember my second year, we won the Super Bowl. I was making $22,000 minimum wage. So I went in to do my next contract, and I asked Dan, he said, what are you thinking about? I was thinking maybe 40, and he said, we can't do that. We can't pay people like that and give 100% raises. And I kind of went out of there thinking, yeah, maybe I was crazy. Maybe I was nuts. But you get through that, and, you know, you see how they treat you. When I led the team in interceptions, they gave me a bonus that I hadn't earned. You know, Mr. Rooney said, you deserve it, and we want to reward you. So you're dealing with honest people. You're dealing with people that treat you like family. Yes, you're not going to get paid what maybe you think you should or what the going rate is somewhere else, but a lot of other things make up for that.
You asked for 22.
No, I was making 22. I asked for 40.
You're making 22. You asked for 40. What did they give you?
I think I ended up with about 26.
A raise. It was a raise. All right.
A raise.
Yeah. At least you made out all right in the long run, right?
I did.
Let's pivot to this home game that you're at. I mean, you tell us during the break, you're 12 minutes away from the stadium. Tampa's still your home. You're still royalty down there. I can only imagine how you're being treated at the stadium for the opener tomorrow night that you'll be on hand for. You know what it's like to defend the Super Bowl championship, how difficult that is. But nobody since, I believe, the Steelers of the late 70s has returned everybody back. Not only did they run everybody back, Brady, as Bruce Arians will tell you, now knows everybody's name. He knows his system. And they threw a Gio Bernard in the mix as a pass-catching running back. O.J. Howard's back. I guess what I'm saying, Coach, like, can you identify something that was, other than catastrophic injury, knock on wood, can you identify anything that is realistically standing in the way of this team repeating?
Well, I think they're better than they were last year. There's no question about that. At this point last year, Tom Brady didn't have the timing with his receivers. He wasn't familiar with everybody. He wasn't familiar with the playbook, and they didn't know him. I talked to Clyde Christensen. Clyde coached for me for 13 years. He's the quarterback coach now. He says their offense is 30% better than it was at this time last year. So they're excited. Their defense is phenomenal. Their defense didn't get enough credit last year. Todd Bowles and that group, what they did. So they've got all the pieces in place, but that doesn't mean you're going to repeat. All that means is you're better. We won in 2006 in Indianapolis. We were a better team in 2007. We started out 7-0. We're rolling, but things happen. So that's where Tampa is now. They're in good shape. They feel good. There's a huge buzz in the town. Everywhere you go, people are excited. The team is excited. Tom Brady has led this group very, very well. They're together, but we have to see what happens. Everybody's hunting for you, no question.
I'd love to follow up on that real quick, Coach, because your former quarterback, Peyton Manning, it's crazy to think about Peyton's career high in touchdown passes is 55 at age 37, his second year in Denver. And that's still a record. Can you see Brady, just going off what you said from Clyde Christensen, at 30% better, given the weapons? If everybody's healthy, can you see Brady having that kind of year where he goes from 40 at age 43 to 50-plus touchdowns and maybe another MVP at age 44? Could he explode like Peyton did year 2 in Denver?
They absolutely think he could do that, and I think he could too, because I thought last year was going to be an adjustment period. He is such a timing quarterback, rhythm, and he didn't have that at the beginning of the year. He's had that with these guys now. They've been through a training camp. They've been through a year together, and they've got some talented guys. Some of the guys that they've added, Antonio Brown now being here full time. It'll be interesting to see what kind of numbers he does put up. I think he's capable.
Tony, Mike and I had one of our squabbles. We always have squabbles. We love each other, but we just bicker.
Brotherly squabble.
So, yeah, that's it. That's the name of the show, right? So we're talking about Brady, and I've seen Brady his entire career. So I said to Mike, maybe an offhand comment, that his weakness is that he's not that fast. And Mike said, no, it's not a weakness. Don't call it that. So we went back and forth on that for a while and then argued about other stuff. But if you're coaching and you're looking at Brady from an X's and O's standpoint, and you're really trying to identify how to attack him or how to minimize the greatness of Tom Brady, what are you focused on? Maybe it's not foot speed, but is there something, even with all of his accomplishments, is there something that, okay, he doesn't like that, we can confuse him or make him uncomfortable with this thing? What is it?
Well, Rodney Harrison, we've been on the show together for 12 years, and Rodney says it all the time. You have to be able to get pressure up inside against Tom, right in his face. And we found that same thing. The people that have success are people that can pressure him, but it can't be by blitzing. He's just like Peyton. If you have to blitz to get pressure, he knows what's happening. He's seen every blitz in the world. He's just going to get rid of it to his one-on-one coverage. So what you have to do is be able to cover with 7 people, mix the coverages, and get pressure with 4 guys. It's a simple thing, but not that many people can do it. A team like the Rams, that's a team that can do it. New Orleans, when you're playing in New Orleans with the crowd noise, okay, and that front 4, you can do it. But that's what has to happen. If you don't get pressure, he's going to pick you apart. If you have to blitz to get pressure, he's going to get rid of the ball fast, and you're not going to get to him. So it's a simple formula, but it's not easy to do.
Glad you mentioned the Rams. I want to pivot to the Sunday night game, which you'll obviously be all over as well. And Aaron Donald, you know, he certainly knows a thing or two about pressuring up the middle. So Brady is most people's greatest player of all time, but wonder if you are in the camp where the best player, the best contemporary player is number 99 in Los Angeles. And what do you expect to see from him on Sunday night against Chicago?
Well, he's a tremendous defensive player. I love the way he plays. Reminds me so much of a guy I had in Minnesota, John Randall. Just a nonstop motor, really impossible to block one-on-one. And to me, that's the greatness of Aaron Donald. He very seldom gets single blocked, and he still gets pressure. He puts up numbers, gets the sacks, but he sets everybody else up. The way you have to block him and deal with him lets the other guys get freedom. So I'd say he's the best defensive player in the league right now. And probably the most valuable.
You wouldn't say best
player
player overall,
overall
though? You still, yeah.
Well, I'm tipping to the defense all the time, but I'd say this: if I were going to start a team and I had one draft pick and I've got Aaron Donald and Patrick Mahomes there, because of the way the rules are and the way the game is, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes with my first pick.
And
So
you
if
see
you're
that,
Matt Nagy,
go ahead, Mike.
oh sorry, Mike. No, I was saying. So you're Matt Nagy. The speculation is that Matt Nagy's basically putting Andy Dalton out there at least for Week 1, so as not to throw Justin Fields to the wolves against Aaron Donald and company. Wondering what your observations are about how Matt Nagy is handling, you know, Justin Fields versus Andy Dalton. And how you expect that to play out, because it feels like we're going to see quite a bit of Fields sooner rather than later, maybe even Sunday night.
Well, I would put Justin Fields in and play him, but we have to remember now, Matt Nagy was in Kansas City, and he's an Andy Reid disciple. Andy Reid did not put Donovan McNabb out there right away. Doug Peterson started most of the year, and then McNabb came in. Patrick Mahomes did not start his first year. Alex Smith was the quarterback. He watched. That was the formula. That's the way Matt has seen it be successful. I don't buy into that because I think it's a different situation than they had in Kansas City. I would put Justin Fields in, but he's had success. He's seen the McNabbs. He's seen the quarterbacks flourish that way by sitting on the bench and observing their first year. I think he's going to do that with Justin Fields, just like they did with Mahomes.
You said you'd play Justin Fields. You're speaking my language. I feel like rookie quarterbacks, put him in there. Is that just a philosophy of yours? You're going to draft a guy in the first round, give him some reps, or are you just looking at this specific situation and saying Fields is the best guy for Chicago right now?
No, I think the quarterbacks benefit from playing. I talked to Peyton Manning a lot. He went 3-13 his first year, threw a ton of interceptions, but he said that year was invaluable to him. He learned a lot, and he had the mentality that he didn't worry about a 3-13 year. Most of these young guys are that way. You're not going to crush their ego. You're not going to do anything to their confidence if they don't go out there and set the world on fire right away. I think they need to play and learn. Now, maybe the caveat is, well, if we've got a playoff team and Andy Dalton can take us to the playoffs and we don't want to upset that's one thing. Chicago, are they there? Would they not benefit from having Fields out there? If they start him, hey, maybe we drop to 7-9 and we don't make the playoffs. In my mind, that's not a big deal if Justin Fields benefits from that over the long run. That's what I would do, especially since you've invested so much to get him.
Last thing we got for you, Coach, then we'll let you get out of here. Not sure what your plans are Friday. You'll obviously have a late night on Thursday. Not sure what you got planned for Friday, but it's Funky Friday. Funky Friday, according to Cam Newton, who's going to be putting out a statement.
Okay.
Or he's going to get some stuff off his chest as he teased today. He teased that he got some stuff that he's going to say. I'm sorry.
I hadn't heard it was
That's
Funky
great.
Friday, but I'm with it. I'm okay. I'm okay with it.
I don't even know if I want to ask the question now.
Your reaction is priceless. Okay.
I don't even think I need to ask the question now. Okay, well, I mean, I guess Michael and I were just discussing whether or not another team would sign Cam Newton now, and if so, who that team would be. Do you see a fit for Cam Newton, or is he done for 21? If not, indefinitely.
No, I think someone's going to sign Cam. Everybody right now feels like, hey, I'm happy with my quarterback situation. I had a plan in place, and it's going fine. But, you know, you let an injury happen or a team that feels like they could get something done and maybe something happens with their first quarterback, there'll be people that call Cam. So if I were him, I would just sit patient. I wouldn't get too funky on Friday. I would just sit patient and let things play out.
Nice.
That's a good mic
Well
drop on the
done.
way out, Coach.
Well, that is. But real quick, I shouldn't even ask a question after that great walk-off line. But when you look at Cam, if you are signing him, what's the expectation for him at this point? Obviously, you're not looking for at 2015 Cam. If you're signing this quarterback, this player, what are you looking to get?
I'm looking for somebody who can play in a pressurized game and go out there and compete and win for us. Now, the caveat, I know I have to tailor my offense a little bit to do what he does best, but that's okay. If I'm a good coach, I can do that, and I can work with that. I'd rather have him now and be working on that than wait for the emergency in week 5 or week 6. So if it was me and I had a team that I thought was there that needed a backup quarterback, I would sign him and say, you know what, we're going to work on this little package for Cam. Now, you got to have a quarterback who's not threatened by that. But there are a lot of people that could do that, and it would be beneficial. I still think Cam Newton is one of the best 20 or 30 quarterbacks in the world right now, so he should be playing somewhere.
Woo! Wow.
All right. Hey, Coach, we appreciate the knowledge. Look forward to hearing more from you tomorrow night for the opener. Feels like we just finished football season. Here we are again. So good to see you, and we look forward to seeing more of you this season. We appreciate you, Coach. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having me on. Always fun to be with you guys.